Thomas, Mayor Gordon Slimmer, Alderwoman Nicole Hardesty,
Here.
and Mayor Pro Tem Glenn Jordan.
Here.
Bob, you're freaking out. What did I do there? Okay, the next item deals business of visitors. If anybody has anything they'd like to say to the council, you're more than welcome to. We're limited to 5 minutes per person. Please note that if it's not on the agenda, we can't go into any conversation about it, but you're more than welcome to, if you have something to say to us, you're more than welcome to do it. If you just stand up, say who you are and everything, and if you got anything to say.
Okay, couple things. We're gonna have flu shots next Monday from 3 to 7 here at City Hall. They are free, so anybody that needs a flu shot, get them down here. The other thing is, if, when you're coming in this afternoon at the City Hall, you've seen the message board, we have 2 of those. Those were gotten off grants, they're $45,000 worth. The reason I requested those was back in Harvey, I could have used those, very much so. Hopefully we don't ever have another Harvey, but we'll use them for different event notifications, anything, hurricanes, whatever. But the purpose of that is to notify the public what's going on. So, see that. I'll let Kim talk about the Christmas event.
We are preparing for our 10th annual Christmas in the Creek. It will be December the 5th from 5:30 to 7:30. We'll have Santa Claus will come in on a fire truck. We'll have cookies, hot chocolate, punch, all those good things. So it's just a really good time for our residents to come out and kids to get involved and stuff like that. So make sure you make a point to come. We would really love to see you.
Anybody have anything else? Okay, old business, consider approval or other action regarding the minutes of the regular council meeting held on October 15, 2019, and the special call meeting on October 17, 2019.
Make a motion we approve the minutes as
Who seconded it? Justin seconds.
We got a motion for it, we got a second, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Consider financial court, technology and building security, court enforcement, and other September monthly reports.
Make a motion we,
Accept the reports. We'll give it to Nikki.
yeah,
Corey
I'll
will
second.
second.
We got a motion for it, we got a second, all in favor? All opposed? Discuss, consider Centerpoint Energy Bailey Jones Creek project.
You're here.
Here.
You're here.
Okay, you'd like us to?
Can
Yeah.
you present just kind of what it's
Sure.
about and all that good stuff?
Sure.
Please feel free to stand wherever you
Wherever you
want.
wanna go, wherever.
Okay.
We're informal here.
I'm Leslie Cummings, I'm with Centerpoint Energy. I have with me a few of my colleagues, Kevin Meals, Steve Fox, and Paul Locke, and we all work in electric operations. And last week we received approval to move forward with our new 345 kV double circuit line from our Bailey substation, which is in Wharton County, to our Jones Creek substation in Brazoria County. And I believe that you have some maps. We have some maps here also. Yes, okay, perfect. So this is the full map. Actually, I believe this is Brazoria County.
Right.
So it keeps going northwest to our Bailey substation, but this is the portion that comes through Brazoria County. We did, when we plan these lines, we do extensive studies, trying to basically come up with a route that's the least disruptive to cultural sites, homes, recreational areas, historical areas, anything sensitive, environmental areas. So we look at all of that and plan very thoroughly for these lines. And this is, I believe, zoomed in on, yes, Jones Creek. So the project, the structures are going to be lattice towers, and I think that in the package, there's a picture of what that looks like. Kind of the typical structure that you see driving down the highway, that you would see on the side of the road, or the big high voltage lines.
Big,
Like the
big
ones,
house,
yeah, the ones that come from across the pier to the prairie that come on
Yes,
the road.
like that.
Okay.
So it's gonna be primarily made up of those types of structures. We just got approval, like I said, last week, so we will be starting the right-of-way process, acquisition process. Kevin Mills heads up our right-of-way team, and so we will be reaching out to the impacted landowners and letting them know if they are on the selected route or not. And we'll start that process soon, and we hope to break ground on construction starting January of 2021. And it should be complete by April of 2022.
It's hard to tell by this map, it's kinda, is it gonna be where people with homes gonna be?
There should not be in this area.
Is this the high voltage line that we've been hearing all about? Okay, make sure I'm understanding. So it will affect Cynthia's house, it's listed on y'all's website. Cynthia is at the very end of Primrose, so what does that mean for her? She was not actually able to make it to this meeting. Her name and address is listed on y'all's website. Okay. And the South Baptist Church. Churches, same, I can't get this called now. Church Baptist? With Pastor.
The Jones Creek Baptist Church,
Oh, yeah.
or his parsonage,
That, thank you.
his parsonage, his house at the end of Primrose. So I think those were when y'all were doing like, y'all had several different lines, right? Y'all had several different places where they were gonna go, so those have been like mixed, right? So the most part of it's gonna follow that high voltage line that's already coming out, the, like,
So, yeah, let me
regular
explain,
area.
I mean, we kind of go for what
Okay.
we've got in front of us. So the handout that we provided here on 11/17, the bold red line is the selected route. The light blue shaded area is what we perceive to be the city limits of Jones Creek. The vast majority of where we'll cross the main portions of the city limits is, let's just put ourselves in perspective to the geographics of it, is there's a Dollar General down there on Highway 36, just before you get to 2004. The line will cross right there. Then it will go down, it'll be on the north side of 2004, and then it jumps back across right before you get to 2004 at 36.
So basically what you're saying, the blue dots is what the village of Jones Creek is, the city limits, and then the red line is where it's not gonna be actually going through Jones Creek, disturbing.
Other than Weldon, other than Weldon Road.
Well, no.
So I have a question. Were y'all not allowed at all to go onto the prison farm property?
Yes, ma'am. We will have, now that's outside the limits, but we will parallel, you can just barely see.
Right,
As
it
it
goes,
goes up there.
it
We'll
parallels
have-
Highway 36.
You will be paralleling Highway 36 on the south side for 27 structures until you'll exit the prison farm at its most northwesterly corner and head back to the west.
So I guess though, that y'all have to stay like, if they're boundary, y'all couldn't just like go through the cattle pasture or whatever else, that they made you cut across or whatever.
That's correct.
It just seems kinda weird that y'all cut across there and then come back across the street right at the intersection at 2004 and 36. And I don't know if y'all, but they're proposing, to widen Highway 36, and there's a proposal that they're gonna put in a overpass at Highway 36, so I
You're
don't
getting
know.
with a bunch of stuff.
I'm
So
sorry.
So let me address one of those for each one of them. So at the intersection of Highway 36 and 2004, that jog that crosses 2004 to get on the north side of 36 down, we did that to avoid the impact of the homes in that area.
Okay.
Okay, and that jumps on to the Scott family property on the north, who own about 100 or so acres in that, let's call it that triangular wedge. And yes, we have everything that has been designed along 2004 and Highway 36 is to accommodate the future widening for the evacuation route We have plans, we have already worked with TxDOT to ascertain a crossing permit, because it will be a grade separated, it'll be an overpass at that location.
Okay.
And the overpass will be on 36, and it will go over 2,000.
Well, I just got a dumb question. I mean, I always know that the quickest thing is a straight line. I mean, why wouldn't it be kinda, I mean, it seems like to me, you could go right there and you spend about ungodly amount of money less just in making all the jags all through everything.
They can get the right of way.
Well, the commission selected the route, we're simply going to follow, but we will be working towards straightening out what we can.
I'm just trying to keep it the most least impact on the people, you know, out here on that end of the
So
deal.
this is just a proposed route, it isn't set in stone or?
It is the route, it's just not surveyed.
Okay.
It will not, unless we have landowner approvals,
Mhm.
it will stick generally to this route.
And that's really better.
And the only other place, and it may be a mapping, based on the data we receive, we'll be crossing, I haven't pulled the official boundaries of Jones Creek, but over here on your lower right-hand corner there, which is the actual Jones Creek, which is on Texas Parks and Wildlife property, that we have a little crossing to make there. And that, everything, once you get down into this area here, this is, a lot of history here, but once you get down through the Perry corridor and down into this area, then we'll, on the whole bottom section, we will be paralleling existing transmission corridor
Right.
all the way on into Jones Creek.
How much will the PUC allow you to deviate from this proposed route?
That's another answer question. We're not real sure, but if we can obtain what we'll call landowner consent can be in the form of an easement, a fee purchase, or whatever document that we can pursue. As long as they approve it with the landowner's consent, we can do some minor deviations.
It just, I'm kinda like with the mayor, it just seemed like it would be a little easier if you just come through the Huntington instead of cutting through the subdivision.
They are going through the Huntington.
Right, I know, that's what I'm saying, but to cut back behind Creekwood so that you know,
It comes straight this way.
and that more cattle pattern goes in.
Yeah, it's safe.
And it seems to be affecting less people. I mean,
Yeah, the real trick in this corner, up at Highway 36 in 2004, there's quite a few residents up in that corner that we see, that we're trying to avoid the impacts of their homes. Yes, ma'am.
What happens if you don't have landowner consent?
Then we have to stick with this route.
So you have to stick with this route?
You have landowner consent for this route?
No. Well, the route, we have purchased some properties, we've purchased, down at the south end of Smith Road and slightly to the east. Perry Landing Partners land there, and then some property that's owned by Stephen Perry and that family that goes down to the existing, we haven't secured that. That's the only piece we've secured. So we can't secure anything until we have an order, unless we have somebody that's willing to work with us.
I mean, at this time, I mean, it's hard to tell by this map. I mean, do you know of how many houses are gonna be affected over this one area right here for sure or anything? Do y'all know anything about that, or if there's gonna be any, or?
At this time, there's no houses impacted on the red route.
When you say you can't secure anything without an order, does that mean you're just going to eminent domain it? Whether
That's-
they like it or not?
That is our tool of last resort.
Okay.
We'll do what we can to work out, negotiate a new easement or acquire some property. And if that doesn't work, then we'll have to use another tool.
So the residents that it's going to affect, do they have any say whatsoever?
No. That process has passed. That's where we had the various public meetings in 3 different counties and 3 different settings where everybody, all the landowners, property owners could voice their opinion, file their objections, and document it with the commission.
So what is the definition of potentially affecting landowners? Is that a tower in your yard, or is that the lines running through or across your property?
Well, there's gonna be lines. We're not gonna hide from that at all, and the lines will be generally what Leslie provided to you. What we were trying to do is stick to the route to be adjacent to and adjoining property lines and not bisect properties. Parallel to the properties or adjacent to the properties.
So,
Not cutting right through.
what are the,
Like, what's the distance?
yeah,
What,
so-
how far away can a house be from these lines?
Fifty
Say,
feet.
It's really close.
but anyone who was in within
500 feet.
500 feet of this proposed red line, and any of the other proposed routes that we developed, should have received notice at the end of 2017, and had the opportunity to attend the public meetings at the beginning of 2018. So anyone, not only along this route, but as the other proposed, would have received that notice if they're within 500 feet.
so that's like where Mr. Cruz got a letter in the Baptist church, because in the beginning, it was, like, they had a proposed route that went all the way through Live Oak and kind of
Yes.
background twisted through.
We ended up sending out about 3,000 notices to people within the tri-county area.
Okay. And then y'all narrowed it down to just this route, right, the PUC did,
Yes, ma'am.
if I understand correctly.
And that was after everyone had the opportunity to weigh in, and this was, out of everybody who came forward and wanted to express their opinions, this was the route that everyone sort of settled around.
You're talking about the Dollar General in this vicinity.
Right,
And there are homes,
yes, that's the Dollar
Okay.
General here,
because there are homes, right?
back over on this east side
Yeah.
there, yes.
So are you saying that these homes here are not gonna be affected?
They will be able to see them, but the property, the proposed right of way will not impact their properties.
It will not impact their
Will not impact
properties,
their
it will
properties.
not be, they will not be
Within 50
close
feet.
to
Right there.
high voltage lines.
Is that what you're gonna let this
The
come
closest
over?
they would ever be to it would be adjacent to the property line at that crossing location, across from Dollar General.
Mhm.
And then the transmission line would be adjacent to
Yeah.
that property's most westerly boundary.
And there's also some
Sometimes 50
environmental
feet.
concerns
Yeah.
around this area. There's a lot of wetlands and Columbia bottomlands that we needed to avoid.
Right. The Corps of Engineers designated about 700,000 acres of special interest. That if we had any impacts of wetlands in that area, it would kick into an extended permitting process that would add about 2 years to the project and make things, I don't want to say impossible, but very, very difficult to navigate without impacting people's homes. So we tried to do our best to balance keeping the Corps happy, to reduce environmental impacts, and to reduce homeowner impacts as much as possible.
So basically what you're saying, the bottom line is this route right here is not gonna affect, like a homeowner is gonna have a big old tower sitting in their backyard or beside their yard, or lose their home and stuff to this or anything?
So there was a lot there, so let me answer one of those, each of those at a time.
Okay.
They will have visual sight of the towers. We.
Well, I know that, I mean, visual sight can be
Yeah,
a
and.
mile down the road, or it can be looking at my door drinking coffee, that's what I'm wondering.
And on, right there where, what you're calling Weldon Street,
Right, well,
Yes,
I know that.
well done.
that line will be adjacent to the most east, it's gonna be west of their most westerly property line. And then there will be a transmission structure just on the north side of Highway 36, where it has that 90-degree turn,
Mhm.
and approximately 2 other spans to get down to that next corner. So in this area, we'll have as many as 3 to 4 towers.
That'd be like over by Russell's.
So, well, I think
Yeah,
it's
so
gonna
that's
come
right,
out,
that's right by Whitman's office, yeah.
I think it will come out like where
West
the
end.
Huntington
Yeah.
driveway is.
Right.
Driveway into the Huntington.
But just written down a rule of thumb, what's the distance between the towers, just where you're going cross-country, where you're not making turns and that kind of thing? What's the distance
Ruling span on this project is about 850 feet
between towers?
between structures.
Right, then anywhere you have to turn, it's,
Yes, it'll be sporadic to make those turns.
Well, Kim, you're fixing to have some towers to look at.
what's that?
You're fixing to have some towers to look at.
Yeah, it's a lot better than the hydrogen line.
Amen.
How about that?
Are y'all doing something with hydrogen mine?
No.
We're not talking about that tonight. I'm not gonna do that, talk about that.
That's not Centerpoint.
That's
That's not Centerpoint, I can say that for sure.
So what's the potential induced radius of a 345 kV uninsulated power line?
50 feet.
And so this route, none of these lines come within 50 feet of homeowners' land or houses,
It will not be within 50 feet of their home.
but it could still be on their property.
Only in this area.
That corner,
Right here, this
crossing right there.
by Weldon Road.
So like Rusty Witten's old house.
Yeah.
So what's the likelihood of going back to the drawing board and seeing if we can come up with a route, or you guys can come up with a route that wouldn't affect landowners from an induced voltage perspective?
Mr. Wright, that time has passed with the commission. That's what the whole public meetings were about, where everybody can voice their opinions on this. But we will be doing what we can in this area to do something different. But it has to have landowner consent to make it happen.
So it is possible for you to straighten out here.
Possible.
That's what it said.
Oh, possible, yeah, possible.
Have any of the landowners been contacted yet or anything? Have y'all?
Yes, sir.
So they just not surprised at them what's going on?
No, they're very well aware.
We tried to notify them at every stage. We notified them at the public meeting. We sent out another notice when we filed the initial application with the commission back last September. And once we get the official order, we'll be in charge of sending out another batch of notices to everybody who was previously noticed. Whether you want to write it or not, we will let you know.
So yeah, let's expand a little bit about that, Steve. So there's gonna be a series of letters that goes out to the landowners. One is on all the big routes where nobody was affected, to his point. Anybody who is not affected in any way, they're gonna get a notice that says, you're not an affected landowner. Then there will be another letter to the individuals that fall along, probably within 100 feet of the lowest polygon, that will receive a letter that says, Centerpoint's project has been approved by the commission. We will begin the surveying phase. We're giving you notice, and that I would anticipate maybe within a couple of weeks on that, and then that will be the communication. But I can tell you, out of this 55, 56 miles, we have been in direct communication with at least 80% of all the landowners already.
And if you want to keep track of all the information that we provided the state, you can go on the project website. It has a link to the PUC where you can go to the docket. And if you put in the docket number, and if any of y'all need to ask, I'll be glad to help y'all with that. Where it'll track everything that was registered with the state, every intervener, all the proceedings, everything will be listed there. So we keep everything out in the open, so everybody can see everything that we've documented and provided to the state. So we try to be as open as possible, and if you have any questions, you can always.
Everything on the outside, don't have it all like that where nobody knows where it is. You know what I'm saying? It's too hard to find that.
Well, what will
You
be,
could just put on the outside, people would, on the outside of their house or whatever, in their yard or whatever. That way people don't have to do all that looking for it, knowing the docket number and everything.
Is that web address in this packet that y'all handed out?
no ma'am, this is just kind of like displays to show you what the line would look like and the reasons why the line need to be built.
Okay.
If
If you could send me that link, we can post it on our Facebook page and our website, that way. it's
yes ma'am, I'll
easily
talk with you and
accessible.
get your email.
Okay.
I'll send everything out in the morning.
Okay.
And we just basically, we don't just follow procedures, we try to go a little bit above and beyond with our openness right there. And if there's any questions or if you need some more explanation, I'm in charge of the email and the hotline. So everything will come to me and I will get back to you as soon as I can, and I'll be happy to answer anybody's question.
If you'll provide the email address and that hotline number too, so that way,
Yes,
some
ma'am.
people who may not be, computer savvy, that way they can at least call and talk to somebody and.
Yes ma'am,
get some information.
I'll get all that to you.
Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah. I'm Rocky Thomas with the Drainage District, and, I see y'all already constructed a road from Highway 36 to the old 36. And, I've been in touch with Mark Lee,
Yes.
and, y'all need to be sure that the Drainage District gets involved in these roads, because we have some, drainage issues that we're
Yes, you
dealing
do.
with. So, and they've been real good. I've got an engineer from Angleton that's meeting with him on that road right there. And then any of the other roads, we need to be able to meet with y'all, or y'all need to have a drainage plan and submit it to the drainage district, especially going out across the refuge, because we've got some, low water crossings and outfalls that are going back to Redfish Bayou. So, you know, it's following the corridor.
Yes.
But like I said, they've been real, on top of things, and, Centerpoint did say that they'll do whatever they need to do to address the drainage, so I appreciate that, but, yeah, please.
Mark mentioned that to us
Yes,
this
sir.
morning.
Yes, sir. But, yeah, and so if y'all let us know where y'all are going and everything, cause we're gonna have to make some changes or something on the drainage. So, I
Well, they
think,
silt in, just the nature of the project of what we do. It can be invasive on the ground if the weather conditions are bad, and we know the drainage problems in this region, especially the Johns Creek, it just doesn't drain. And we're very much aware of that, and we're also working with Texas Parks and Wildlife on their mitigation efforts on the very same thing.
appreciate it.
Anybody got anything else? Well, with no action on this, but we thank y'all coming and giving us some information and giving us where we can contact somebody for questions.
Ms. Morris, if I could just get that email real quick.
It's
Casey,
jc.cityhall
that's y'all.
at coastal-link.net. And you have my email, sorry.
Okay. Well, as soon as I get in the office first thing, I'll send you all the information and everything else.
Thank you so much.
Of course, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, discuss and consider drainage improvement project.
Yeah, see. Mr. Thomas, would you like to start?
Yes, ma'am. As y'all know, we put in box culvert here on, Stephen F. Austin, and it's complete. Waiting on it to dry up a little bit so we can go ahead and finish widening, make the ditch wider that goes back behind the school and goes to the low water crossing. So I think this is gonna be a tremendous, asset to the drainage over here on this part. On Batter, I got permission today to take some trees out on that outfall there, and we're just waiting. In Robin Hood, we gotta let it dry up. The contractors are waiting. We can't do it while there's water standing in the ditch. But, other than that, that's where we stand right now. We need some dry weather.
I'm also waiting for the contractor to do the repairs to the culverts on Live Oak. I'm just waiting for him to get available to do them. He knows the kind of severity of what it needs to be done, so we're just waiting on him to be available to get that done. Do you wanna go into what the drainage committee talked about the other night, or do you want me to do it? The issue on Robin Hood. So we don't really know what we can do on Robin Hood to help those efforts. I think it would be in our best interest to get an engineer to look at it and see what we can do. I think a little bit of the issue there is, a small portion of it is ours, and then another portion of it's the county's. And then, of course, Rocky's already working on getting that, outfall ditch at Robin Hood, fixed. pulled some maps from 2002 when a drainage project was done on Robin Hood. We looked at the grade that was proposed then and we assume was done then. But I don't really know, I'm not a drainage expert and I don't really know where that water's supposed to go. And so I think it would be in our best interest to help relieve those people at the corner of Robin Hood from taking on so much water, to get an engineer to look at it and see what we can do to fix it.
Can we get Rocky's engineer to come and look at it?
I've already called him, hadn't got a return, but you need to contact Randy Stroud in Angleton. I have his number. He's already working on another job for me, but if you'll contact him and, let him know what you have, he can come down here and meet with y'all.
Give
And,
us a price on how much it would cost to look at it,
Yes,
and what
ma'am.
needs to be done to fix it.
yes, ma'am.
It's not Butch, it's Randy.
Huh?
Is it
Yeah, Randy
Randy or-
Stroud's he's a engineer, ain't he?
Yes.
Right.
Butch Peterson's a
just a
contractor.
contractor.
Okay.
So I guess we need to just
You wanna make a motion?
make a motion to have him look at this?
Yes.
I'd like to
Second.
make a motion that we contact Randy Stroud to, look at what can be done on Robin Hood Lane.
All right, we got a motion for,
Second.
Glenn?
we got a second, all in favor,
Um,
all opposed? Okay, under new business, discuss, consider bids for surplus police unit. Did we ever give you anything?
Nope. Still ours.
We own a police car still. Okay, there's no action there.
I mean,
Or-
unless, the minimum bid was 1,000, right? I mean, I guess how badly do y'all wanna sell it? You can lower your minimum bid and redo bids.
Be up to you, Wayne.
What do you, what
I
is
think
yours?
we're gonna stick with 1,000 for right now.
Oh.
What's wrong with it?
Nothing.
Nothing?
How many miles?
Well,
How many miles
it's got
down?
miles on it. It needs some tender love and care.
It needs a little bit of stick.
So, somebody, I guess, could make a motion to extend the bidding process to the city council meeting.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to extend the bid.
Glenn
Okay.
made a motion, Nikki seconds.
We got a motion for, we got a second to extend the bids to the next city council meeting. All in favor? All opposed? Okay, next item is discuss, consider resolution 11-19, official ballot for board of directors of Missouri County Appraisal District.
You'll get to collect them and choose two. Does that make sense?
we have 3 Jones Creek residents on the ballot.
Mr. Hardesty, Tim Hardesty, AJ Jenkins, and Miss Angie Taylor. Then there's Tommy King, Robin Garrett, Gail Robinson, Glenn Slayer, George,
Sally,
what is it?
Sally.
Okay, good, thank you. George Sanders and Susan Orr.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to see representation on this, appraisal board district from Jones Creek, because they, if I'm not mistaken, have something to do with
Your appraisal of your
the
property.
appraisal of our property, and who better than, residents in Jones
I agree.
Creek to weigh in on the appraised values of homes in Jones
So
Creek.
can we make a motion to select 2 tonight?
Yes, sir.
So I'll make a motion to select, AJ, appoint AJ and Tim Hardesty.
You split the vote, doesn't it? You could put 2 votes toward one of them.
Okay, I got you.
Oh, I wasn't aware that we could put 2 votes to one of them. Well, I make a motion that we put 2 of our
Wait,
votes,
there's already a
oh,
motion.
sorry.
You have to amend his motion.
I'd like to amend your motion that we put both of our votes to AJ Jenkins.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion for AJ Jenkins. We got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? AJ gets
Probably one of the votes you would get. We're not all going to do
Okay, discuss, consider request for proposals for solid waste disposal, collection, and recycling services in the package.
This is a request for proposals for trash service. Our trash contract goes up in April. So the dates on there are not correct, I just plugged those in when I wrote the RFP. The attorney has reviewed it. It's a little extensive, but it just goes over what, will be, you know, what we're asking for, what they need to propose to us. It does, push a lot of customer service, things like you mentioned, you know, making sure there's good customer service and all that stuff.
So we sent this to all of them that's available in our
We
area?
will once you approve it, yes,
Yeah, we just
sir.
need to approve and make sure everybody's all right with this and send it out.
Post a notice in the newspaper, and then we'll send this, we'll mail this to any, parties that may be interested, like Waste Connections, WCA, Republic Waste.
I make a motion that we send them out.
Second.
Okay, so Terry, and then Corey seconds.
We
Hey,
got a
so,
mo-
so I have a question. So we're resending bids for just one or all of them out there? Because Waste Connections sucks. I mean.
No, so
We're
this
sending it to
opens up to
everybody.
everybody. So our contract with Waste Connection goes up in April.
Right.
So we have to renew either, they have to propose a new contract to us, or any trash collection agency can give us
Can bid
a
on it.
proposal, and we can review
Right.
them and say, okay, we want this one, or whatever else.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, and my question, that was my question, that was, because our, it's horrible.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, we got a motion for, we got a second, all in favor? All opposed? Okay, discuss, consider audit, engagement letter with Curtis T. Craig CPA for the fiscal year 2018-2019 audit.
So we have a 3-year engagement letter with him already, but he's required by law to give a new engagement, to do another engagement letter annually. So he did our audit last year for 2018, he'll do our audit again once this is, if this is approved for 2019, and then he's contracted to do it again for 2020.
I think you did a good job, do you?
How much
Easy to
more,
work with, very easy.
how much more in cost is it compared to last year?
None. So his contract is he can't charge us over like $8,700, it's in there.
It's $8,960.
Yeah. His expenses can't go over that, and I don't think they were that last year. It was less than that.
Yeah.
Any motion?
Yes.
I make a motion, we keep him.
I'll second it.
Lynn, Terry,
Got a motion for, we got a second, all in favor? All opposed? Okay, the next item, discuss, consider creating a temporary part-time maintenance personnel position. Christie wasn't hurt on the job, but she did have an operation done, so she's not able to work, and we got a lot of stuff we'd like to get done. And she's basically, her vacation and everything's all up anyway right now, isn't it?
yeah, so she's kinda like on FMLA
Yeah.
at this point.
And right now, we just need some things done, and hiring somebody, since we're not having to pay her anyway, but hiring a part-time person to,
Till like mid-January. So that way we can get everything up for Christmas in the Creek, you know, keep the building clean, cause, you know,
Grass mowed.
we've all, the grass mowed, we've all kinda pitched in and took over those duties, to help out. And, she is gonna try to come back probably mid-December, but I think it's gonna be with restrictions. And so I really don't want her having to do anything that could prolong her recovery. And so unfortunately, she's the only one that does it, and so we need somebody to help do those things.
Do we have somebody in mind?
We do. Miss Dana Pomeranke, she used to work for the city of Clute. She worked for the city of Clute, I think, for 30-something years. Beverly can speak very highly of her, she's her neighbor. She's willing and able to do, it would be on a part-time basis, and just kinda as needs, she'd come in, do whatever needs to be done, and then, you know, go. Like I said, she's willing to do it. I would say no more than 32 hours a week, and then I would put her on a pay scale like 15, 16 an hour, depending on y'all. That's my suggestion.
I make a motion to approve it if she's willing to apply.
I'll second that.
Justin, Nikki,
we got a motion for, got a second, all in favor? All opposed? Discuss and consider appointing Nicole Hardesty as public relations liaison.
So, Nikki's approached me and asked if she could help be of assistance to just push more, positive public relations with our residents through like our Facebook page, improving our website and things like that. So that's what she's kinda asking, maybe help, with some kind of event, just kinda pushing.
Yeah, just help, I mean, in this
Reach
day
out.
and age of everything being on the social media, I think that we really need to take seriously our position on social media and not be willy-nilly about, we'll have somebody posting something for, a week and we have great stuff and then there's nothing there for 3 weeks. I think that we need to keep things consistent and try and get a calendar of what they're going to post. Kim comes up with a lot of things that she finds that can be posted and just really, work with the, people in the office to make sure that that happens.
Right, and
As
we're
well as
getting
keeping the
good
website,
information out.
yeah, getting good information, keeping the website up to date, and, with good information as well, and just helping them
With ideas.
come up with ideas and move things along.
I think it's a good idea, personally.
I think personally, it's a huge gap that we have right now, that it seems that, a lot of times things that are, the motions that we make and things, actions that are taken, you only hear the negative stuff and not the positive. And, so I think just getting accurate information out there, I think it's a huge gap right now that we currently have. So I definitely think it's needed. I know we've made multiple attempts to open opportunities up to the public and the residents if they wanna be a part of these committees. On one hand, people complain about that it's just a few people that make the decisions up here, and then you open committees up and then you see complaints that, well, that's why we moved to the country. Well, why are we having all these committees? I mean, you're never gonna please everybody, but I think in addition, I'd like to amend this to open it up to one position from the resident, from the public, and see if there's any interest. If there's not, oh, so be it. But they could assist and work with Nikki so that we don't create the perception that it's only
Right.
city council driven. And I know Marcy has, been a pretty, vocal point in this community lately, and commend her for her efforts and standing behind something she believes in. So, maybe this is something Marcy would be interested in, working with Nikki on. Just a thought.
Just a thought.
So you
So is
can,
this something that has been opened up to the community, or is it a set out? And that was actually something I wanted to request more information on, is how many committees is one city elected official allowed to be on?
there's not. I don't think that there's any local government code that states that a city council member has a limited amount of committees they can be on.
Because I know they're not allowed to be on school board and city council, and there is certain restrictions that they're not allowed to be on, so that's why.
Right, they can't hold dual, there's in some situations, especially when they're paid positions, they cannot hold dual positions.
Right.
That's like when Mr. Thomas became drainage commissioner. He actually could have stayed on city council, but at his discretion, he decided not to hold dual commissions. Right.
But anyhow, so, there's others that may be interested.
Right. So I think what we could do tonight is if that's what you wanna do, y'all could appoint Nikki, and then at the next meeting, we could put something else on the agenda to add a, resident to that group.
Another committee?
I mean, while we're on the subject,
Consist of Kim and, Katrina and Brandy. Well, definitely Katrina and Kim, definitely Katrina and Kim.
I make a motion to appoint.
I got a question. Why do we need to appoint somebody right now? I mean, we've gone this long, why can't we open it up
You can.
for everybody? Why does she need to be appointed? You know what I'm saying?
She asked, that's the
Right.
reason why.
But why can't we just, instead of appointing somebody right now and just going off, seat of our pants and going, hey, okay, well, she asked, so let's let her do it.
I can,
Open it up to, there's plenty of other residents.
they're volunteer?
Well, there will be
No, I'm not, but I'm
definitely
just
be a
saying.
council member on that, so it could be anybody sitting up here, but there
And
would be a
that's
council
why I
member.
was saying open it up to the public, but I don't think we're just going by the seat of our pants. I think that,
Well, it's the way that it's on the agenda, so we can't.
we can't, I mean, what Nikki's contributed in her short time up here, I don't know of anybody, know, that even that's lived here, that I could say that it would contribute more and cares more about our well-being here, and I don't think anyone can dispute that, and has been actively involved, and I think she's a great candidate. I make a motion to appoint her, and if somebody from the public would like to assist, and that's why I was, you know, making a proposition that we, or a proposal that we open up to the public.
This is just for my own knowledge. Is it mandatory for all these committees that a city council person does have to be on it? Would it be more productive if you had actual residents who were on the committee? Maybe they're a little intimidated by the city council, what have you, and they don't want to step up to volunteer because they don't want to be with, hang on, let me finish. Could we form committees as a community and then have a liaison, not so much a city council member on the committee, but a go-to, so that say Marcy, I, and Liz are on a committee, or Jackie, sorry, are on a committee, and then we have a liaison, we go to Justin, say, hey, this is what our committee came up with, can you take this to the city council?
I wanna say you can, yes, you can't, well, yeah, cause your board of adjustments, there's not, in your zoning board, there's no city council members on there. The only thing about committees is you have to make sure that if the committee has any kind of authority to make, then it has to be considered an open meeting. So you can't just meet, you would have to do exactly what city council's post agendas, do minutes and all those things. But if you're just making recommendations to the council and they're having to decide and think about it and discuss it, then you don't necessarily have to be open meetings required.
Like your street committee or your beautification committee.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And so, I don't think there has to be a city council person on it. I know that most cities will have at least one city council person, just so that they can kind of act as a liaison to that committee and then back to city council. But I don't think that local government code requires that a city council member be on a committee to answer, if that answers your question.
If I could kind of speak to that too, so just without boring everybody with some my personal information, and you know, one thing before I was appointed to the council and expressed interest in it, you know, the lack of PR. There was two reasons, you know, why I chose and why I wanted to be on the council. And one was, you know, I heard all this stuff and was reading all this stuff on social media. First and foremost, I wanted to contribute back to a community in town that I grew up in. But secondly, you know, you read all this stuff and it kind of makes you wonder, like, what the heck is going on up there? So I wanted to, you know, join and be part of the council, and kind of if there was a curtain to be peeled back and see, you know, that there's all kinds of corrupt and whatever else is being alleged, that we're lining our pockets with money and this and that and stuff. And so I did, and you know, peeled back the curtains and saw nothing but good people that are volunteering their time, that are taking off work, that are putting up with being publicly bashed on a, you know, daily basis for looking out for the best interest. So I think that keeping a member of the council on these committees is good, because it allows the residents to actually have an intimate working relationship with people in the council. So I see value in that. Whereas opposed, we start creating these like separate forms of government who have their own agendas and like this accountability.
I don't think a beautification committee is a form of government.
Well,
We're not talking about a committee here at all. We're talking about
A person helping.
just yeah.
Right.
A person assisting staff is really what it is. It's not even a
How
committee.
long are y'all elected, like the mayor?
2 years. They serve 2-year terms.
So, how long have you been mayor?
Well, they don't have term limits. There's no term limit, but we're off topic, so.
Yeah, we're on a different
I'll be
deal.
happy to answer your question after the meeting if you'd like.
but anyways, there's a motion on the table, so
Justin made a motion. I'm sorry.
The motion is for Nikki to be the liaison, right? Is it?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
And I'll second it.
Glenn?
Okay, we got a motion for, we got a second, all in favor? All opposed? Okay, the next item is executive session, Texas Government Code 551.074, deliberation concerning employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, or to hear a complaint or charge against an officer or employee to wit. And in this executive session is to talk about attorney. Somebody wanna make a motion to go in,
I'll make a motion that we leave the regular meeting on second.
Gary, Corey, seconds.
all in favor? All opposed?